So in this video, we'll see how to use try with resources. So the concept name for today is try with resources. Okay. Now what try with resource is, it was introduced in Java 1.7. Okay, so it is Java 1.7. So you can use this feature only in Java 1.7 and later. In my machine, I'm using 1.8, so the function will work here. Just to demonstrate how to use try with resources, what we will do is we'll take an example where I will ask a user to enter a string and will print the same string by writing hello. So if user says his name like Rahul, so if I will print hello Rahul, that's it. So for that, what I need is I need to use buffer reader, right? So whenever you want to take input from user, we have to write buffer reader. So we'll write buffered reader br equal to new buffer reader. So this is how you create object of buffer reader, right? Okay, so we'll say new input stream reader, and in bracket we have to say it is system dot in. Okay, now since we have this buffer reader br equal to new buffer reader, now if I want to fetch the data from user, so first I will save the data in str. Initially str will be blank, and here we'll say str equal to br dot readline, and now I can fetch data in this str, right? Now since I want to, let me write those here because it might throw an exception, so we'll write exception because this is checked exception. Now, so this is how you take input, right? Again, in one of my video, I have talked about, or I will be talking about buffered reader. So you can just watch that video if you're not comfortable with this. So this is how you take input from user. We have multiple ways we can take input from user with the help of scanner, or we can use buffered reader. Okay. So if I write buffered reader here, which is br.readline, now since buffer reader takes input from user and it is storing that input in str, so this buffer header becomes a input output operation, right? So this see this the package we are using here is IO. So it simply means this is input output. So anything which comes inside Java from outside world and which goes outside will be part of IO. And whenever you have IO exception or whenever you have IO operation, all the objects becomes a resource. So whenever you work with resources, you have to make sure that you close these resources. So what we need to do is we need to first create a resource and then we need to close it, right? Now as we have seen in the last video, there's a chance that if this line, which is read line, gives you an error, or if it throws an exception, that means it will not execute br.close. That means in case of exception, br.close will not execute and your resource will be leaking. So what we need to do is we should always use something called as try catch. So we should write try and catch. So we'll say this is exception E, and we have seen in the last video that we can use something called as finally. So in this I will just print, let me print here as E, and when you want to close the resource you have to make sure that everything should be in finally block, which simply means even if you are getting error or not, let me just increase the scope of buffer reader because I have declared buffer reader inside try. So copy and paste. Now what we can see here is we are using buffer reader. Let me just use proper indentation. Okay, so I'm creating object of buffer reader here and we are just saying close. Okay, let me just give null. So even if you get error in this line, since we are writing this line in finally, it will execute in any sense. So you can see whenever you work with try and when you create a resource, you have to make sure that you are using, we are closing all the resources. So where is the best place to close resources? It's your finally block, right? But now, if the only reason of creating this finally block is just to close a resource, so this is what we should do in Java 1.6, right? Or until 1.6. In 1.7 they have a new feature which simply says if you're creating a finite block just to close a resource, don't create it. Instead of that, create a resource inside try catch, which simply means write buffer reader here. What I mean by that is write buffer reader here, In the try, okay, something in this way. Now the advantage is you don't have to create this buffer reader outside, and you don't have to initialize, because we're initializing the buffer reader inside a try box. So this is the parameter of try. So we can create an object inside a try parameter. Now the advantage is whenever you have a try in this scenario, you don't require any catch block, you don't require a final block. So which simply means you can write a try block without catch and finally. Okay, so we are creating a try block with a resource. So this is a resource here. And the amazing thing is, as soon as you're done with your try block, this resource will get deallocated. And even if you get an error on this line, the resource will be deallocated. So doesn't, you don't have to worry about will it close the resource or not. It's try work to close all the resources once finished. So this is how we have to use try with resources, which is introduced in Java 1.7. Cool. We can use this for many in multiple ways. We can use it for sockets, we can use it for files, we can use it for database, we can use for anything, right? Any resources you need, you can use try with resources. So that is from this video. For more videos, stay tuned and do subscribe and do like my videos if you liked it. Thank you so much.